The reason I'm mentioning demons when I think that demons don't exist is because I think that people, for a long time, um, there has been this notion of demons, of course, and we need a bridge between that notion and the notion of looking at the discord. And really, we don't need those identity preserving questions. I mean, they're great questions, but in the end, I think the real questions we need to be asking are questions of the form, where is the discord? Where is that discordic thing? And if I believe I'm speaking to someone else, then I would ask, where are you telling me a mistruth in terms of that? And I don't want to destroy, like if I were to pick, if I were to have to say, I'm just using the notion of demons as a bridge to the notion of discord, then I don't think that's entirely fair either, because um, I still want to preserve identity. So I think it's important that we ask questions that are identity preserving, because we're people, we're not robots, and we aren't quite as good as we probably will be. Um, yeah, but the notion of identity seems to stand in the way of a lot of intellectual progress, because it brings up ideas about ego and jealousy and that kind of stuff, and coveting an idea, and a lot of notions that happen when you create that discretization. You've established some piece of information about it, some truth about it, and that truth is going to introduce some discord. And when you do that with the question of identity, then you really are injecting that notion of identity into the information, and you really don't want to do that. So if you just see that there is discord, between you and your reality, between you and the coherences you have with the physical reality, then that's a really the stronger notion if you want to make it as a thinker, I think. Yeah. So after looking on the internet to make sure that I spelt daemon and demon differently, I saw that in Wikipedia, even though most dictionaries consider them to be synonyms, there was a note that daemons were considered to be benevolent and close to God, and demons were bad. And I just think that if you keep on the road of trying to preserve identity, then you can really find, through asking the question, where's the lie, where your real demons can be harbored. And this is a pretty prototypical example of chasing down discord by asking that one question, that beautiful question that preserves identity over and over. The same question that Descartes asked himself, um, and came up with the answer of I think, therefore I am. Because I, who is asking the question, preserves identity. And that's really important. And by asking that question, I feel like you can preserve identity without fostering ego. I think our brains are mostly classical machines. And an important thing for classical machines is that there isn't that quantum entanglement as an assumption. And so if you have data going out and data coming in, and you don't have that proper entanglement, that resonance, um, then it's important that you maintain a process of information in, information out. In other words, if you're going to have information traveling from one brain to another, then you're going to want that information to essentially be suppressed. The process that needs to be looked at by some other process, the process needs to, your brain needs to shut down and accept it as trust in the process that information in, information out. And when information out, the classical machine needs to be quiet. Yes. When information is going out, the classical machine needs to be quiet. You see, because I would argue that between any two people, there is a different way of looking at the discord between any clump of information, any self-contained piece of information. There's going to be different discords, and there's going to be different resonances in that information. And when that information goes out, and in a classical machine like fashion is into some other classical machine, then that information can be put into some perspective based on the resonances that that other machine has with that information. And so when the information goes back over into the other classical machine, brain one, then the information has something to work with. It may have discarded pieces that you see as resonant. It may have, and then it will have questions for you in your mind that your classical machine can help crunch, and discords that came back from brain two, and you can help resolve those discords. And I really like that in terms of the classical machine. The quantum machine has the beauty of course, having the entanglement. So I would think that the quantum machine would have that non-necessity for info in and info out. And we can't always live in that state. We'd always love to live in that state. But yeah, the classical machine is there, regardless of whether you believe me or not.